The Bitcoin Group, the American original. For over the last 10 seconds, the sharpest Satoshis, the best Bitcoins, the hardest cryptocurrency talk. We'd like to welcome our panelists, Martine Wishmare from General Bytes,
Good evening, folks.
Josh Shigala from Voltoro,
When there's red on every candlestick, you pop a red for yourself, folks.
and I'm Thomas Hunt from the World Crypto Network. Moving on to issue one. Issue one, Bitcoin falls back below $40,000 as it wraps up a wild week of trading. The price of Bitcoin fell back below $40,000 on Friday after Chinese authorities intensified calls to crack down on mining and trading of the cryptocurrency. Investors are reeling from regulatory warnings from the United States and China, as well as mixed messages from Elon Musk, whose company Tesla famously accepted Bitcoin and then decided not to accept Bitcoin. Martine Wismare, what happened to the price of Bitcoin? I thought it was going up forever.
Well, I'm not too worried myself. We're seeing a big dip, but if we look at the history, well, history is no historic performance, no guarantee for the future. But if we look at the history of dips in Bitcoin, we saw several dips in the 2017 bull run as well. So I suspect once Elon Musk stops tweeting or they take his phone away and the Chinese FUD is over, then we can continue to rise. Maybe it's not that bad because we've seen a huge rally going on earlier this year. So I'm not too worried. Just when in doubt, zoom out. That's what I would say.
Josh Shigala.
Yeah, I've got raid Bitcoin in my title here. Trade Bitcoin, trade gold and Bitcoin. Look, there's a proverb in China that says the land is big and the emperor is far away, and that basically means do what the hell you want. No one cares in China whether they ban Bitcoin. The Bitcoin doesn't care. Anyone that's techie enough to use Bitcoin will continue using Bitcoin. Yeah, the exchanges in China will have a hard time. But the other thing is that the interesting part of China FUD is that when China bans Bitcoin, and what not really many people talk about, and I think they should, is what happens. How do the miners pay for the electricity that they're making without being able to sell the Bitcoin? And so this is always interesting. So generally, what I've seen is some miners tend to migrate out of China and head towards more friendlier shore. So this, I think, is probably a positive part of the network, is that if you get a country that is adversarial, then you might just move. And you've got all the hardware. It is about sticking on a container. And the good thing nowadays is we've reached this sort of pinnacle where chip or ASIC technology doesn't move as fast as it used to. So you actually have a few months to pack up the whole warehouse and go across to, I don't know, India or somewhere else, hopefully a cooler climate. But yeah, it's I find that part of it interesting.
What I think's amazing is that maybe it's not about the news and it's not about Elon Musk and it's not about all of these things, but it's just about the price of Bitcoin and that the price went up too much. And we all watched it and it went up and up and up. And we said, where's it going to stop? When's it going to stop? And then now it's stopped. And now everyone's saying the opposite. It's going down forever. It's going down forever. When's it going to stop? So I think it's just another one of those up and down things that we go through in Bitcoin. And everyone says, it's the news. It's this one event. It's this one person. It's this one country. And really, it's just, it went up too much. And now it's going to go down for a little bit. But don't worry, we've got you covered here with all the knowledge and information that you need. We have the Bitcoin predictor ball, the only one of its kind, the only one in existence. And it will tell you, will the price of Bitcoin be higher this time next week? We're going to the ball first before the commentators. This puts a lot of pressure on you guys. Here we go. Higher this time next week. My sources say no. My sources say no. The ball is bearish. Martine Wishmayer, do you agree with the ball?
No, I'm forever bullish on Bitcoin. It's a short time, time frame. The ball predicts 1 week in advance, and it can't see any further in the future. And we know there's still only 21 million Bitcoins. If people look at their stack, they still have the same amount of Bitcoins. If they look at their stack compared to the number of institutional investors, they see that they will have climbed up the ladder and that there are fewer people with a stack like them because the institutional investors have kept buying, according to Bitcoin treasuries.org. So I'm not too worried. I think the ball just has a bad day. So, but maybe Josh won't agree with me, but I'm curious what he'll say.
Josh Shigala, does the bear continue? Do you dare to side against the ball?
Look, markets, they take a while to turn around. They're kind of like the Titanic. Of course, that's to go up. To go down is very quick, and this is the old analogy of taking the stairs up and the elevator down. When people are scared, they've made a lot of money, and usually what they do is they wait for a crash. It crashes. They sell at the very bottom. It starts to go up a bit, and then people get scared, like, oh, it's gone up, I'm going to take profits here, and then it'll head back down. We're definitely in a bearish cycle, and it does take a while to move back. And the thing is, as you said, Thomas, these markets went up and up and up for months since, December, January, they started going up even a bit earlier, I think. But what tends to happen is after a large upswing, you need to consolidate the price. You need to consolidate movement, and that usually happens by going sideways for a while, or which means by time. So you consolidate by time, or you consolidate by price, which means coming back down, giving the bears or the opposite side a chance to live their dream, which is, the bears are like, yeah, go down. And you've got to remember, nowadays it's very easy to make money on the price going down. So there's a lot of incentive for people that are betting on the price going down to actually make money on that as well. It's just a little riskier because usually there's some leverage involved. You don't have to leverage it, but usually there is. And so, I think we're definitely in a price consolidation here, which means going down in price, correcting itself. But then after an overcorrection, what will happen is the bulls will have to have their chance again to play their dreams out, and the market will turn around again. I mean, I know this is very fence city. I'm just sitting here telling you both sides like a typical TA freak. But generally, this is what's happening, is that we went way too high. When Dogecoin hits 70 cents, something is wrong. Something is wrong. When the shoeshine boys are ringing you up telling you which coin to buy, something's wrong. And so it's really about waiting a little bit. It'll consolidate down, and the bulls will hit back. I think in about a month or two, it'll start turning around, because I don't believe this bull market is finished. This is a very unusual dump, because usually what happens with a Bitcoin crash is that you will see constant up and up and up and up and up and up. And every week it's this crazy and euphoria and like, whoa, this is a new normal. And then boom, crash. What happened with Bitcoin is went up and up and up and up, and then it went sideways for ages. So this came sort of out of the blue, even for me. And I've, the panel here has seen a few of these markets boom bust cycles, but this one is a little bit different. So I don't believe it's the end of the bull market. I think it's a correction in price instead of time. We had a little bit of a time correction. We're now having a price correction, and it'll turn around pretty soon. So I would definitely be using these moments to buy in if you have got some powder in the chamber. If you've managed to take some profits and wait for it to dip, or you're earning money and you're averaging in, this is definitely a time to continue that. And this is what we're seeing on Vaultoro as well. A lot of people are selling their gold back for Bitcoin at these prices. So yeah, that's my take on it. I think we'll be lower is the short answer.
I think it's time for my yearly retelling of all my Great Depression jokes. So, of course, how did you grow broke, Mr. Rockefeller? At first, slowly, and then all at once. So, just reminding people of what Josh said there, that you still have the same number of Bitcoin or the same 0.001 or whatever you had before that you had yesterday. But the sentiment has changed, right? You used to own roaring Bitcoin and it was going to the moon and everyone was going crazy. Now you own crashing Bitcoin and it's on sale and everyone can't get out of it fast enough. And suddenly the people that took profits are the smart ones, not the ones hodling forever. But that could change again, right? So you have to decide where you want to be long term, not just think about today and panic and freak out, because that's not going to work for anything. So. And then, of course, the other classic joke, I'll let you in a sec, Martin. But the other classic joke is, of course, Yogi Berra's, nobody goes to that place anymore. It's too popular. So Bitcoin's like that. You could get some more Bitcoin, but it's so boring and I can't get as much as I used to. So that means it's no good. But actually, it's still good, even though you can't get as much as you used to, even though it's really popular and everybody and their brother's into it, and you're not cool anymore. You're not part of a unique subculture. You're just another sucker buying $100 on Coinbase or whatever. But still, if you could sell it for 120 or 1,000 or whatever in the future, that would be more. So that's probably what.
And also in these moments, in these bear markets, now is the time for you to get paid in Bitcoin. Offer your services in Bitcoin at these prices. Whenever you see the price going down, that's when you want to say, hey, I'll work for Bitcoin. I'll do this for Bitcoin, because it's a little bit harder to get that Bitcoin out of people because they know it's lower. But at the same time, if you can, it means you're getting Bitcoin cheaper. You're getting more of it for the same service. So remember the mantra.
Averaging.
What's that?
Well, and if you're dollar cost averaging, don't stop dollar cost averaging. I had these friends where the price of Bitcoin went down and they were all bummed because their little holdings were worth less, right? And they canceled their dollar cost averaging. And I was like, no, this is the exact moment where you'll make all the good buys. These are averaging out all your bad buys with these good buys. Yeah. And you're messing up the whole averaging part of averaging. So yes, keep your systems going. Don't just, oh, it's over, I canceled my thing. It's like, no, don't do that.
Yeah, spot on.
I just don't worry too much about the lower price right now. I just look at the Bitcoin stash, like, there's X amount of Bitcoin in it, and price up or price down, it's still the same amount of Bitcoins. And in the long run, this is like, people are still calculating how much is it worth in euro, how much is it worth in dollars. And if you just like turn it around, that every year you try to end the year with a little bit more Satoshis than you had at the start of the year, then it all becomes so much less stressful. That this is what I really advise everybody to do. It's you only invest the money you don't need and put it in Bitcoin, and make sure that at the end of the year you got just a little bit more sats left than at the beginning of the year, and then there is no real rush with the bull run. And I think after a few years, you even stop watching what the price today is, so.
That would be the best, but who has that kind of ability? Moving on to issue 2. Issue 2. Elon Musk is back again. Elon Musk makes a subtle Dogecoin price prediction and renews his quote-unquote attack on Bitcoin amid calls for a true for the people crypto. Elon Musk is back again, tweeting insane nonsense like, if Dogecoin had 10 times the transactions but used 1/10 of the energy usage, then it would get 100% of the market. And it's like, yeah, we see what you do there. It's just a bunch of nonsense. Even Adam Back himself came out to call out Elon Musk, saying that it was just utter nonsense. He was becoming a true random altcoiner who had no idea what he's talking about. The myth of Elon Musk as a smart person seems to be smashed all over the internet this week. Little pieces of it everywhere we see. Josh Shigala, Elon Musk, is he promoting Doge because it's a joke? Is he promoting Doge because he wants people to lose their money and he thinks it's funny? Is it 3D chess? Is he trying to get back at the SEC? Is Elon Musk the world's smartest man or the world's dumbest? Josh Shigala.
You know, the problem with Bitcoin, I see, is that when someone goes against it, people really attack them, and all it does is turn them off more. And I'm afraid that if all of Bitcoin, because you know when Elon was buying Bitcoin, everyone was like, "Oh, Elon," and worshiping him at the Ulster, and you know, flogging their backs for Elon, and you know, whatever else they did in these cults. But you know, the thing is, when we saw really good Bitcoiners turn to shitcoiners when the whole Bitcoin community turned their back on them because they might have talked about other coins and stuff, and really slammed them, really went hard and sunk their teeth, you know, really called them names and destroyed them, you know, in publicly, and bullied them, and then they end up, you know, at Bitcoin Cash or whatever. I think it's really good to continue being polite and just showing what Bitcoin can do and how it can do it better, without resorting to bullying by a massive community. Of course, I'm just one single word. I can't change the weather of which is basically what the Twitterverse is it's its own organism. But I would definitely recommend that people stay civil and just keep going about how Bitcoin isn't the FUD, and talk through the FUD, talk through why that isn't, and post about it, and talk, you know, the shows like this talk about it very, very regularly. But yeah, I just want to put that warning out there, because we don't want to, you know, Elon's mouthpiece is very, very, very strong. And we don't want to create an enemy out of this person just because he has some negatives about Bitcoin. You know, one of the strongest voices that was very anti in the beginning was Peter Todd. You know, I remember the early days he would come out with some really anti stuff, and people would shut him down like really hard because he was pointing out some flaws. But the fact of the matter is, he was pointing them out because they were concerns to him that were on a security front. Elon has more sort of non-realistic concerns, like you know, that it's not green or whatever. But I think, you know, it's yeah. I just don't want to make an enemy of the guy, because he is very, when he says something, he moves markets, and yeah, you don't want him. You don't want an enemy like that.
I disagree with you on that, Josh. If somebody posts nonsense, then it should be called nonsense, you know. So
no, that's fine. I don't mind calling it nonsense, for sure. Like Adam Back would have calmly said something, you know, and called him out. That, you know, Jack Malice, for instance, he went hard on him and really, you know, called him stupid and all this sort of stuff. This is all I'm saying. It's definitely, you need to call people out on their FUD. If it's nonsense, call them out on it. But there's no need to go to ad hominem attacks and name calling and this sort of thing.
I see a bit of a pattern here. Elon, before he launches something, always creates a problem. Like, the traffic in LA is horrendous. I'm going to start a boring company, you know. Cars are so polluting. Hey, I sell you electric cars. So now it's crypto is so polluting. And what he will do is, because his solar power business isn't doing great, as far as I know, the roof tiles aren't really performing well. You can't really do any net metering in most countries because they pay you next to nothing for supplying energy to the grid. So I think he's on to a plan where he wants to mine crypto with people their solar panels and then credit them with these coins. Bitcoin is too expensive, too hard, because, you know, ASIC chips and all. So he looks for something similar, and he found Dogecoin because it's already like an abandoned project, and you can use your ancient script miner. So you can use those graphic cards. Those chips are readily available. So I think what he's doing here is setting the stage for launching his own shitcoin, or just adopting Bitcoin, and then get all these solar city customers to use their excess electricity to mine these shitcoins, and then create a value or a coin, turn the electricity into value, and then use that as trading thing. I don't know, combine it with Tesla, and it has got enough hype to maybe even fly. But the problem here is that he selected Dogecoin, a totally abandoned project that was doomed. It was basically doomed from the beginning, with unlimited, issuing of coins. So he just bet on the wrong horse. And but I do honestly think that this is the way he works. He always creates a problem, then brings the solution, and then he's the hero that brought the solution for the problem that people didn't know existed. But now Elon told them they have a problem, and Elon will also bring you the solution. So everybody will be mining shitcoins with their overpriced solar city equipment. And Elon will supply it, probably with a nice box that says Tesla on it or something. Because I looked at those panels and the necessary batteries, but the batteries for the power wall, they're called, really nice, look nice. You can put the whole wall of your garage, you can put all those power wall units in there. But what they don't say is that after a few years, the batteries are just as useless, are bad as your old laptop. They don't hold any charge. So that's
How
not
can that
ideal.
be? That sounds like it would be bad for the environment. No, Elon, no.
No, it's really bad. All this lithium is mined by slaves, by the way. So it's so instead of storing it, he might want people to go and mine cryptocurrency because it's like free and it's green and it should be subsidized, and maybe he can even get some subsidies for it. It's a wild idea, but he's always presented new business ideas like this. Create a problem people didn't know existed, shout off on Twitter about it, then present a solution, and then Elon Musk saved the day.
I take it one step further. You heard it here first from me. I think he's onto a coin called Energy Web that is for trading energy carbon credits. And I think there's something there that he's doing, because he is involved in that specific project through a funding mechanism he has. So I think there's something there. I don't know.
Enron 2.0?
Probably.
There's also been rumors that around the time Elon started tweeting about his kids buying Dogecoin, that a large account started buying Dogecoin and now has something like $26 billion in Doge and isn't selling.
Yeah. By the way, Martin, your mic is a tiny little bit quiet compared to everyone else. Yeah, look, I just want to add to that. I think that Elon definitely has that problem, reaction, solution stuff going on. This is what the typical government sort of modus operandi actually as well. Problem, reaction, solution, and yeah, I definitely think he'll come out something. The thing is, he can't come out with a proof of work miner, because even if you take, if there's a miner that's less energy, it doesn't matter, because you're incentivizing it with coins, with money, which means you'll get more and more and more and more difficulty to the point where it'll just end up catching up with Bitcoin if it's successful. So there's, proof of work is fundamentally, in that sense of, if you're taking it from pure Muskian.
Well, and let's also all agree that Musk fell into a logic trap here. And as have many on Twitter have said, during the beginning of Tesla, when he would be criticized, they would say, well, you built this beautiful electric car and you built this electric pump that puts the energy in there, but all the electricity that's going in there is dirty. It's all from coal mines. It's all these things. And he had to deal with the same exact argument that your beautiful new system is still connected to our dirty old system. Therefore, it is worthless. And he was able to fight this with Tesla, but then there's some kind of disconnect in his brain. He couldn't fight this with Bitcoin, and he laid it down in this weird half manner where Tesla's still holding the coins. Elon's now on Twitter bragging about their diamond hands, which I hate to tell you something, Elon, but when you're a billionaire and you know where your next 10,000 meals are coming from, and you don't have to worry about paying your healthcare and all these kind of things, it's not hard to have diamond hands. Like, no rich person in a country club was ever laughing about how they didn't sell an investment because they're so rich. It's not, you're not really understanding the culture here and what's going on. You're just appropriating, which for other cultures can be very bad, Elon. So I know no one gives a shit about the cryptocurrency culture and appropriating our memes. But for other people, I wouldn't do that. So I also wanted to go back to something that Josh said about how this keeps happening, and that somehow Bitcoin and the amount of money that's here is a lightning rod, and it's a lightning rod for scammers and for narcissists, right? And we have some of the best narcissists in the business, right? And like Josh says, they all have a pattern. They come in, they love Bitcoin, they get on board, they think it's great. Maybe we start calling them, Bitcoin Jesus, like Roger Ver, right? Everyone loves him. Then all of a sudden, he's like, I can't quite make enough money on Bitcoin, or whatever it is, right? It's not fast enough. There's not enough transactions.
Or it's not mine.
Yeah, it's not mine. I don't own it all. Like, I should have gotten in the pre-mine. So then they make their own coin. Roger ended up with Bcash. He didn't really make it, but he joined them. Then along came Vinny Lingham, right? The same thing, this appeal to authority, someone who has a voice outside of Bitcoin. Therefore, their voice must be more important than the people inside of Bitcoin. So they come in, and everyone loves Vinny Lingham, and he's all into Bitcoin and Shark Tank and all this. Suddenly, he's got his own coin, Civic, and you can save the government with Civic, and it's going to be a government coin, and he's telling you how great it is. All of a sudden, Elon Musk comes in. Everybody loves him. He's got Tesla. He's got an Iron Man suit. He can fly, all of this stuff, right? And same thing starts happening. Bitcoin is just not good enough for him. Bitcoin's not big enough. It's not fast enough. It's not clean enough, right? Pretty soon he's going to have Elon Musk coin. So we do seem to keep having this. And I think it's very similar to what John Lennon said about the Beatles, how they were bigger than Jesus. And that they have this problem with Bitcoin where the closer you get to it, it's like getting close to the sun. You're just going to spiral in because you're not as big as the sun. You're not as big as the whole galaxy, like Zaphod Beeblebrox in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, with a total perspective vortex where he could see how small he was in the universe. And I think that happened to Roger, and it happened to Vinny, and it happened to other people. When you get close to Bitcoin, you're like, I'm really insignificant and small. And that happened to Elon. And Elon was like, no, I am bigger. I am bigger than Bitcoin. And now we're going to find out who the biggest is. I love it that he's holding it too. The company's holding it. He's bashing it. And he drives the price by 50% of something his company holds. It's like,
it's very, very well said, Thomas. But I think, really, when you saw that crash happening, I guarantee it, his board of directors were on the phone to him saying, can you fucking tweet about how you're holding this shit? We've just lost $1 billion, Elon, with your phone. Can you put your phone down? And I guarantee it. And he quickly tweeted, we got diamond hands. Suddenly the market turns around, as well as my brother-in-law selling. So, that turned the market.
They went up quite fast, actually. It recovered the losses in no time from the previous day. So this diamond hands, yes, he's got a huge mouthpiece and it works very well. But he shouldn't just, we had Bitcoin before Elon, and we will have Bitcoin after Elon, so I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Yeah, the important thing is it really, like you said, it really doesn't matter. Look, Bitcoin dealt with China FUD. China is way bigger than Elon, and it's dealt with China FUD over and over again, to the point where when China FUD comes out, the market generally doesn't react to it. Like some people are blaming this downturn on China bans Bitcoin thing again, but like Thomas said, the price was just really high. It's probably correcting. Yeah, that might have done a little bit to it. But generally, the market is so used to China FUD now that we don't react. So eventually it'll get that with Elon as well. It got like that with John McAfee. It got like that with Roger Ver. After a while, when these people FUD and FUD and FUD on it, after a while, it's like, oh, over it. People just keep buying, because at the end of the day, the mantra is, folks, there is only 21 million of the very first cryptocurrency ever invented. 21 million.
I also want to make a dual-pronged attack on this altcoin nonsense. I'm on mute. I'm mute. I can hear myself.
Coming through.
All right. No?
I'm going to have to take over now.
I can hear you, no problem.
I disagree. I think it's working fine, Josh. Check yours again. No? We'll see in the chat.
No, sorry. My speakers went turned down.
Your speakers went. All right, but now I have to remember what the heck I was going to say.
Sorry, man.
Something about Dogecoin. Okay, so here's my solution. I've got a two-pronged solution to altcoins. On one side, we're going to rename Bitcoin to sats. From now on, it's all sats, and they're really small, and you have a lot of sats. You are rich with sats. Congratulations. Unit bias problem solved. Now, on the other hand, what you're looking for is a cartoon mascot. You're looking for a dog. You're looking for a dog named Sats. That's right. The currency's called sats. The dog's called sats. You should buy sats. You should pet sats. You should be part of the sats crew. We've solved the problem. It has a dog. It has all of Bitcoin's amazing technologies, atom back, second layer, liquid technologies, lightning network, all of those things, plus Sats the dog. He's funny. He's a dog. He's cute. I think what people really want is they want to be a millionaire. For about $400 US, you could buy 1 million sats, complete with dog option on the coin. 1 million sats, you're a millionaire. That's done. And then the other parts, they want this dog. And they keep coming back to Dogecoin, and they're like, it's a cute copy of Bitcoin. And in their minds, they think that it's like, Pepsi and Coke. They're just right next to each other on the shelf. They're both sugar carbonated beverages. They both wreck your teeth. They both make you fat. Who cares which one you drink, right? But it's not that with Dogecoin and Bitcoin. It's not like that with Bitcoin and Ethereum either, but for different reasons. But with Dogecoin, it's just such a uniquely bad example. I don't want to bag on the Dogecoin creators. I know Jackson. He's cool. I've never met the Billy guy, but I'm sure he's all right too. They were sitting around one day having a laugh, changing the wallet of Bitcoin to Dogecoin, right? They put the Doge image in there and they changed the font to Comic Sans. And if that's all they did, it would be kind of like a copy of Bitcoin, and maybe somebody could have kept it up to date, right? But they didn't. They changed the issuance, right? They wanted that million sats. They didn't want it for the pennies. They wanted that million for the units, right? For the Dogecoin. So you'd have millions and millions of Doge, and you'd always be rich with Doge. And it's always printing the Doge. So whenever someone comes along, they're like, I like that funny dog coin. They have no idea how much it's printing, how much it's already printed, all of the complexities that were created with these problems. They also have an inflation bug. It just prints more. They don't know how much. So they come along, they want the dog, but they get all those problems. And this keeps happening. So from now on, if you want the dog and you want cute, and artists, please start working on this. We'll work together. We'll NFT it. I'll retweet it on the Mad Bitcoins, whatever you guys want. Sats, the dog, he's cute. He's probably gray. He probably has a red cape like Superman and a Bitcoin logo on it because he kind of has superpowers. He has 2 personalities, Clark Kent, Sats, the dog. We can beat this Dogecoin. We can make this stop happening. What do you guys think?
The inflation bug you mentioned in Dogecoin, did they never fix that?
I'm not sure if they fixed it. I know from the thing that Dogecoin hasn't been worked on in 3 years. The last important thing that I heard is they switched from being a real coin that was mined to a coin that's merged mined with Litecoin, which is another thing that, does Elon even know that? Does he even know like Dogecoin is not even a real coin? It rides around like a spaceship on top of an airplane. It's like, I'm a real spaceship. You're a spaceship on top of an airplane. You're not going anywhere. Like spaceships.
I saw a great meme with a psychologist sitting there with someone else, and the guy's lying down there saying, "Yeah, I'm working with the Dogecoin developers to make it more efficient." And the psychologist is like, are these developers in the room with us right now, Elon?
Yeah, and it's an empty room, just a patient and a psychologist. It's fantastic. Good meme.
Well, and I hear what they're saying. They're like, we want a coin without all the Bitcoin baggage, right? We want just the Doge, none of the weirdos, none of the scammers and all the things. But it's like, if your coin ever becomes valuable, you'll attract the scammers. If your coin ever becomes valuable, you'll attract the hackers. Then you're going to need the smart talking people to find your solutions for the hackers. And then you're right back where you were. You're surrounded by scammers and hackers. And the only thing that you've changed is that you have a cute dog as your logo. That's why the new logo of Bitcoin is Sats. Sats the pup. Sats the coin. Sats, Sats, Sats. We're done. Sats.
By the way,
Keep
I
stacking
think
them.
just to round this off before the exit question, Elon, I feel is like, wouldn't it be hilarious if we could have a world economy based on a Doge meme coin? Like, he thinks that's hilarious. But the fact of the matter is, the true Bitcoiners and us think, wouldn't that be hilarious if we could get a cryptocurrency to be the world? That is funny enough, Elon. You don't need one with a funny coin dog on it. Yeah, like that's actually doing a worse job than most governments in terms of inflation. You can have Bitcoin and still be hilarious if that removes all central banks and becomes the currency of space. And by the way, it does. People find greener and greener energy. So your green FUD is ridiculous.
It would be hilarious. It is funny enough. And Sats is cuter than Doge. We all know it. Sats is cuter than Doge. Exit question: is Elon Musk a genius? Is he playing with everyone behind the scenes, making tons of money? Or is he an idiot, just bouncing from success to success like Forrest Gump? No, never having a plan, always being lucky, shrugging his shoulders and saying, I guess that worked. Martin Wismayer, your thoughts? Elon Musk, genius or idiot?
You're not leaving me many options, but I don't think he is a genius. It's the people behind him, the team, that's the actual, those are the genius ones. He's just taking credit for the team, which is, in my opinion, makes you a bad CEO, just like Steve Jobs at Apple. He was always claiming credit for everything his team did for him. So, a good CEO gives credit to the team, but I don't think he's an idiot either. He's very, he has a plan. He always has a plan. And as I said earlier on in the show, I think he is doing this to then come with a solution, a sort of Tesla branded coin that's super green, and that is something like that. And it will be a shit coin he adopts because setting it up from scratch will be too much work. So, maybe those Dogecoin developers will be in the room, or just, I don't know. I don't think he's stupid. I just think he has a plan. But I'm not going to hang around and wait for him to tell us what the plan is. I'll just stick to Bitcoin. We had Bitcoin before, and we'll have Bitcoin after Elon Musk. So, yeah.
How about this? He could do Dogecoin dark. Josh Shigala, Elon Musk, genius or idiot?
Dogecoin dark.
Elon is definitely not an idiot. He's extremely hardworking. He's obsessive. But I think he's, Richard Branson put it well. I'm not quoting him directly here, but it's something like, I'm a dyslexic idiot that's really good at finding great people and surrounding myself in them. And really any good entrepreneur is that. You cannot be a good entrepreneur if you cannot find great people and surround yourself in them. You cannot be a good entrepreneur if you're the cleverest of everyone in the room. You have to continually be the dumbest guy in the room, because your job is to find people that are really, really clever and hardworking and you have to bring the vision. So Elon is I think more of a visionary than intelligent. Of course, he's very smart. He's a great, I think he is a very smart person, but he's more of a visionary. He's very hardworking and surrounds himself in brilliant engineers and people and designers and everything else. But yeah, I think he's run out of time. I said it in the last show as well. He just doesn't have much time to research stuff. I think he's just having fun with this crypto stuff and saw one little meme about diamond hands and decided to repeat.
What's funny is if you read the PayPal book is almost all about Max Levchin, one of the engineers at PayPal, one of the top 3 guys. He's the one that's always down there solving the problem. He's the one getting the new servers online. He's the one handling the crises, saying how the operating system should be run, what back end they should do. Elon Musk is the one recommending that they run Windows NT. Elon Musk was actually removed as the head of PayPal for suggesting Windows NT. They then switched back to Linux, and eventually Max Levchin, I'm probably saying his name wrong, but he's a genius, and he's the one that solved PayPal's server problems. So I would agree with what Josh said. He's very much supported by the people behind him, the people underneath him. And someone else had a really good and interesting tweet about Elon. They said that he's surrounded by yes men, and these yes men tell him that he's the smartest person in the universe every day. So when he says, my car should make fart noises even while it's in motion, they say, okay. When they say my car should play karaoke even while it's in motion, which I think is unsafe. I rode in a Tesla recently, and I think it's radically unsafe how much garbage they'll let run on the screen. They'll practically let you watch Netflix while you're driving the car. And that's into the kind of idea that would come from Elon, where he'd be like, it would be really cool if you could run Netflix while driving the car. And no one can say no to him. So
it would be cool.
It would be cool, yes. But
because my Android Auto dashboard is rejecting me from playing Netflix and YouTube, and it only plays audio. And it took me about a month to find out that there is really no way around it. And if somebody creates an app that is a workaround, then it's automatically blocked by Google because you're not supposed to watch Netflix while driving. And I think I don't like this whole thing. If I want to watch Netflix while driving, I should be watching Netflix while driving. It's yeah.
The problem is the other cars. The problem is the other cars, and it does affect other drivers when you're watching Netflix. Otherwise, I'd say, yeah, you could watch it. But so it's a lot of those things. And now he's out here on the wider internet, unprotected by his people, spouting off about Dogecoin and all the things he usually does. And it's a lot like Trump, right? Where his ego's been shattered, right? The internet is questioning him. Smart people like Adam Back are writing back to him. Michael Saylor is trying to explain Bitcoin to him in the nicest of terms, really the nicest way. And Elon's making fun of him and, poking him and being a jerk and all this. And I just think that he's never been in a place where he's not the smartest person in the room. And now he's on the internet and it's not working out for him. And he's lashing out. And that's what all this like Dogecoin and all this coming back to it and this silly jokey stuff. He's joking because he's not up to the competition. But who is when you got Adam Back responding to your tweets, dragging you down? Let's give him a break on that too. He's got the whole internet against him. I would suggest running away, Elon, running away for a couple of months, go on a sweet vacation. Don't give a crap about these internet people. Believe me, you won't notice them on your sweet vacation. Let's move on. Check out the WCN Clips channel. WCN Clips has got the greatest clips of the World Crypto Network, and you should share them and thumbs up and retweet them. We're going to try to tweet more of them here on the World Crypto Network so we can try to connect you guys to the clips. But these are the clips. Here it is. Here's a popular one right here. It says, Musk cancels buying Teslas with Bitcoin. So clips work. Check out those awesome thumbnails. Shout out to the clips guy for doing the clips. Very cool. Moving on to issue 3. Greenpeace stops accepting Bitcoin donation, cites high energy use. Friends of the Earth is reported to be reviewing the situation as well. Elon Musk's energy FUD has entered a new realm as it is now convincing nonprofit agencies, yes, that's right, small companies with very little power, certainly not governments, are now deciding on their own that they shouldn't accept Bitcoin, the currency of the future, the currency that could very well fund their organizations for decades, if not hundreds of years to come, are being scared away by energy FUD. Josh Shigala, your thoughts on Elon Musk's energy FUD now convincing legitimate organizations, specifically small organizations, that they should not accept Bitcoin?
Man, Greenpeace, please don't be fools. The oceans are dying. We need you. We need you to accept good, real money that's not nonsense fiat crap. You should be holding Bitcoin. You should be holding bullion. You should be getting out of fiat. Don't hold that crap. And I mean, I see some of the clips. I saw some guy from Greenpeace say, going after and rescuing seals recently, just running after fields of seals that were just covered in fishing line, and it was all cutting into them, and they'd capture them, cut the stuff loose, and they'd run it. Amazing work, really good stuff. Guys, this is nonsense. Please accept Bitcoin. Don't not take it because of this FUD. It's just nonsense. Bitcoin helps us find greener energy. It accelerates the green energy, the clean energy. It accelerates that. Stop this nonsense.
Martine Wishmayer.
Yeah, I think it's been, Greenpeace, as a kid when I was growing up, they were doing a lot of things. I haven't heard much about them over recent years. And in the 90s, they had this financial scandal where they were, investing donated funds and were playing financial markets. And I think especially Bitcoin would bring some transparency to this organization. It would help them, make proof, the funds trackable using the blockchain. And it would show people who donated that their funds are spent wisely instead of being played on the stock market somewhere and then lost, because they lost millions in those financial scandals. And they also had like a problem with reorganization where they basically got rid of headquarters and everything was done locally. So I think for organizations like Greenpeace, it's really important to bring back this trust, or win back this trust from your subscribers or your members or people who donate. And the blockchain is a tool to do that. It's a third party or triple entry ledger, and people will be able to see that, yes, my funds are still there. Oh, they got spent, and then they can show the people that where they spend it on. And I think this is really important, especially in current times, that they need to work on the transparency. Otherwise, they lose their trust from the people. And they had, it's not the only scandal. They had a bunch of scandals. So I think, even though the people working at Greenpeace do very good work, the organization itself is not without its problems. So I think it's very important for them to keep accepting cryptocurrencies, to work on the transparency. And that's just all I have to say about it. I think it's stupid, it's short-sighted what they've done. And Friends of the Earth, I've never heard of. Sorry, maybe it's big in the US or something, but I don't know. I think they're similar in that respect to Greenpeace. But, when I was young, Greenpeace was like, they were the warriors fighting against nuclear energy. But now they're actually promoting nuclear energy, saying that, yes, it's good, less carbon emissions. I mean, really?
Yeah, it's full of full-on lefty types as well that just wanted more government and more control.
I didn't hear about Greenpeace for at least 10 years, but until they stopped accepting Bitcoin. I didn't even know they accepted Bitcoin, but I'm thinking, they should get their act together. Think about it. Think about the transparency and winning back the trust of the people, basically. And blockchain is a good tool to do that. So. I hope they change their mind.
Oh, regardless of the goals of the agency, I think this is the true cost of the Elon Musk FUD. Elon Musk, through scaring people with the energy cost of Bitcoin, trying to protect his company Tesla, has scared off legitimate organizations who are small and who would benefit from Bitcoin. Larger organizations, it doesn't really matter. They're already well funded. But if you're a small organization, this is your chance to accept a currency that could actually help your organization. So it's really unfortunate that this energy FUD continues. Just last week, I think Galaxy Digital released a report where they did what everyone's been asking for. They compared Bitcoin energy use to the energy use of the banks and of the gold bullion industry and found that Bitcoin used less than either of them. Yes, less than either one. And they found, once again, as we've been saying, Bitcoin uses less energy than always on devices. So devices like your PlayStation that stays on, your DVD player, your Blu-ray player that stays on, your television that never really turns off, all of that extra energy more than Bitcoin. So
Your
Greenpeace
Tesla that never turns off, by the way, also. I mean, just, you know, I want to say that I have a Tesla. I love my Tesla.
and all these things never turn off, and they
never
use
turns
more
off.
than
It's
Bitcoin.
always on.
And we get so much more than Bitcoin. We get a chance for this agency to accept donations anywhere in the world, no censorship, none of this, like, you're not accepting this. Or remember when PayPal and the credit card companies turned off WikiLeaks? That's one of the reasons a lot of us are here, because of the WikiLeaks organization got so much press for Bitcoin, as well as when they thought about taking it, when the EFF thought about taking it, when they stopped taking it. Imagine if the EFF had just held a bunch of Bitcoins. They could have not taken it, but they could have held the ones they had. Wired magazine had a bunch of Bitcoins. And again, this just keeps happening. These short-sighted organizations, and to see it from Greenpeace, which is supposed to be thinking about the environment, supposed to be thinking about 1,000 years or 100 years. Bitcoin is here to stay. You could save the environment more with Bitcoin. Let's move on to the exit question. Other organizations that should have held their Bitcoin include the United States government. Should the United States government have held their Bitcoin and built 50 Smithsonian museums, one in each of the American states? 50 states, 50 museums. Martin Wishmayer, should the United States have held their Bitcoin and built this incredible chain of museums?
I'm not exactly sure how many Bitcoin they had, but they confiscated quite a large number of Bitcoin. So I think it would have prevented the whole money printing disaster that, that happened over the past year. So yes, they should definitely have kept it. And I think from all the countries in the world, Bulgaria is one of the countries with most Bitcoin. I think it's because of the OneCoin scam or something, or another Ponzi they rounded up at the time, but they have a huge number of Bitcoin. I'm not sure if they sold it or not, but if they haven't, then, you know, it solves all the problems. So I think it's wise for governments to hang on to the Bitcoin. Unfortunately, what we see is they either sell it off by auction, or you know, in the Netherlands, if they confiscate Bitcoin, they immediately sell the Bitcoins. They just sell them immediately the same day. For fiat, and even if the person whose Bitcoins are confiscated is deemed innocent at a later stage, they don't get the Bitcoin back. They just get part back, what you know, in fiat. So they're screwed anyway, even if you're innocent. So no, always hold on to those Bitcoin, whether you're a government or whether you're just stacking sats from home. That would be my advice.
This could be a reason for another government to attempt to take over Bulgaria if they have a lot of Bitcoin. Josh Shigala, 50 states, 50 museums, 50 Smithsonians, paid
No,
for.
thank God they sold them. Oh, yeah, I actually find it funny that governments sell the Bitcoin for fiat that they print out of nowhere for free. It just, see, it doesn't make any sense at all. It's the weirdest thing. Like, why are they, why? But I tell you why, because they can just print more and buy them all back. They just print the money and buy Bitcoin. So they could literally just buy all of the Bitcoin because they just print the money. The problem is it would go to a multi-trillion-dollar Bitcoin pretty quickly. But yeah, I definitely think the next up, like we're currently in, in 2017 was the big onboarding of the mainstream, of the masses. This bull cycle is the onboarding of the corporations and the large Wall Street players. And it hasn't hit all of them. So it's kind of a half on. The next one will be a full on. And the next one after that will be all governments and like governments starting to buy and hold. And that's when you see $1 million Bitcoin.
50 states, 50 museums. As Josh said, $1 million Bitcoin. We'd only need 50 Bitcoin to build the 50 museums in the 50 states for the Smithsonian Institution to fulfill its destiny of serving the American people. They wanted to move the capital from Washington, D.C. to Iowa City to be closer to the people so we'd have better access. They didn't do that. The least they can do is give us 50 Smithsonian museums in 50 states, end the penny, end daylight savings time. Thomas Hunt for president. Let's move on to the next issue. Issue 4, China FUD, because no one really cares. Bitcoin caps tough week with China's boring clampdown on crypto. Yes, China, blah, 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 is something, Bitcoin mining, blah, blah, backing their people, won't let them use Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. They're doing it again. Okay, so every 6 months to a year here on the Bitcoin group, we cover China FUDding Bitcoin again. And every 6 months to a year, the Chinese government probably buys Bitcoin. And just like they're saying about Tesla, China loves to dump on the price before they buy. So here it is again, your chance to sell your Bitcoins to China, because we know the US government's too stupid to be buying them, even for a noble cause like 50 Smithsonian museums in 50 states. Let's go to Martine Wismar. Your thoughts on China FUD again, blah, 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 blah. The media is still excited. The media cares.
I mean, what's there to say? It doesn't even register with me. As far as I'm concerned, people in China, they just mine and they just trade anyway. And there's probably a reason for the Chinese government to try to push their own digital shitcoin instead of having the people's currency, Bitcoin. So there's what China says and what China does is two entirely different things in my experience. The same thing with exporting currency out of the country. Traditionally, people went to Macau. They took they couldn't take suitcases full of cash. So what they would do is they would go in China to a local agent. They would give them the local currency, and then they would get these casino chips. They would take those to Macau. They would only play one round of roulette, then immediately go back to the cashier, cash out all the tokens or the chips, casino chips, and then they would have a bank account would be opened for them. That was their way of getting money out of the country. Nowadays, I would assume this is a bit old-fashioned. They cracked down on Macau a bit, so Bitcoin is the way to do it. You just buy Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin is free, and the money can flow anywhere where it's better treated than in China. So I understand they want to crack down on this, but is it still news? Nah. No. Would it influence my decision to sell Bitcoin? No way. No, just hold, ignore it. Nothing to see here. It's just a new China FUD. So,
Josh Shigala, there aren't even any words on the script. It just says blah, 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 China, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I pretty much everything that Martin just said, I agree with. You just don't worry about it. Keep holding, move along. Nothing to see here. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Now, what about the timing? We need to address the timing a little bit here, because it seems like all the bad things happen at the same time, or a lot more likely, one bad thing happens, other people have bad things ready to go on the shelf for this, and they bring up the bad things. So, Josh, I'm going to give you a chance. Is it all a conspiracy? Elon Musk Dogecoin working hand in hand with the Chinese government to crash the price of Bitcoin? Or is it a cascading problem where one thing starts and then they say, hey, maybe we can launch this? And then Thomson Reuters has a bunch of articles about the energy usage of Bitcoin, and they launch those at the same time as China has a bunch of articles. And then China starts selling and the market starts going and everyone follows the market and it's all cascading. Or it's all the work of Dr. Evil ruining our Bitcoin weekend.
No, it's no Dr. Evil. I mean, it honestly is just a bunch of stuff that generally how markets work when we're in a hype cycle and things are going good, or only positive news. This person's accepting, that's happening. This person made $1 billion. This person's lost his wallet and is now a billionaire, but now a nobody. It's just constantly good. And when the market turns, the media has to find the negatives. Bitcoin's gone, it's dead, it's finished. Put the media, it's using way too much energy. It's blah, blah, blah. And really, it just doesn't matter. There's only 21 million units of this stuff. Just get some. And when it's down, get some, because now it's on sale. Hey, if the jeans shop down the road was at 50% off, and it was the same pair of jeans that you really liked, wouldn't you go and buy them?
It's a very boring story to just say markets go up like this, right? Markets don't go straight up. They go up like this. Over to you, Martin. Like, there's nothing else to say. That's it.
No, that's it.
All right, let's move on. I think we did it. That was the exit question of issue 4. Just like to remind everyone once again to check out the WCN Clips channel. Just Google WCN Clips, click subscribe, click share. These are great for sharing on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook. Send them to your friends. They're like small versions of World Crypto Network shows that you can watch. And then maybe it's so good you'll watch the whole show. So WCN Clips, subscribe today. And we'd like to go to predictions or story of the week. Martine, are you ready with the prediction or story of the week?
No real prediction, no real story this time, but I just wanted to say my World Crypto Network shirt, the Bitcoin Not Bombs one, I'm always almost grown out of mine because of COVID. I got so fat, so I'll order new ones. And even though I washed this one so many times, it still has perfect print. So it's a good quality shirt. You can get them online at the shop. And don't forget to order. And if you're unsure about your size, just order 2 of them and give one away for free to somebody else you like and want to donate a Bitcoin shirt. By the way, fashion tip, if you're a bit larger like me, get color black because it makes you look slimmer. So, color black, my favorite. That's all for this week.
Excellent point, Martin. I could have gone for the bigger size as well. Definitely extra large is the way to go on the t-shirts. We could have just ended COVID a little earlier. I was ready like a couple months ago as I was in good shape. And then now it's just going downhill. Josh Shigala, a prediction or a story of the week. Go ahead.
My prediction is that I'm getting over mass government people's societal psychosis of COVID. I'm so over it. Just stop it, everyone. Just stop it. I'm over the nonsense. Oh, I can't stand it anymore. I can't stand it. Get a clue. Get a clue, everyone. That's my story of the week.
I'm not going to do it. We're not going to go political, but thanks again for everyone for joining us. Be sure to give us a thumbs up down below. We didn't say it a bunch of times this week, but maybe you could just pretend we said it a bunch of times and be like, oh, they wore me down. I'm going to go push it. I know it's pointless, but it makes them feel good. So thumbs up and subscription, share this on Twitter, put a comment out there, start a discussion, come back later, put a comment up. A lot of people don't comment because it's live. So that's about it. We had some other shows this week. We'll be doing more Mad Bitcoin's NFT drops on Monday. That's fun stuff. And I'm trying to get some more interviews, but my computer broke again because the hard drive's still bad. It's totally my fault. So I'm trying to fix it, but that's where the interviews are. So they're on there.
Yeah, and by the way, one quick thing for the folks at home, so, follow Mad Bitcoins on Twitter, because you really put out some good content with these Twitter Spaces stuff. It's really cool watching. Having a whole lot of people coming in. It's like a talk show where anybody can talk to Thomas and myself and whoever else, and it's really fun just to listen to in the background. So yeah, definitely get amongst that action.
Josh, to participate in the World Crypto Network Spaces, they have to follow Mad Bitcoins, right? And they have to follow the World Crypto Network on Twitter.
Pretty much. And like Josh said, the Spaces is great. We had all kinds of people in there when the price was down, and we've been trying to do call-in shows for a long time. It used to take like 2 computers and a bunch of stuff, and then it took an expensive mixing board and a bunch of stuff, and now it just takes Twitter Spaces. So it's great to have that barrier lowered, not just for me, but for everybody. If you want to do a call-in show about anything, Twitter Spaces, Clubhouse, both these things are there. And we had just a great chat while the price was going down. And we had an accountant come on, and the accountant was like, what excites me about Bitcoin is the triple entry bookkeeping, just the basic way the system works. It's so much better. This is going to take over everything. You don't have to be technical. I'm an accountant. I'm just looking at the software. I'm like, this is great software. So it was really cool to get people's perspectives like that, as well as to see a lot of people just hodling strong, not having a problem with this. And again, shout out to the Black Bitcoin billionaires on Clubhouse. They do a great job. There's a whole bunch of guys and gals that come out of there, and they always have kind of the right ideas. They're like, I didn't invest too much. I only bought Bitcoin. I don't look at it all the time. I'm here to tell other people about it. And again, I'm not hard selling anybody. It's not an altcoin. It's just Bitcoin. So I really like those guys and those gals. It's a good crew. So I hope we'll do some more Twitter Spaces hangouts this week. And again, if you want to start your own, Twitter's open it up to most everybody. We can all do these little Spaces things. So it's pretty fun. So thanks so much for joining us. Until next time. Bye.